Hey, it's Lowery Smith of the Commander Smiths here with um searching for the spotlight. Riku of Many Paths. I'm just seeing that this thing looks cloudy as fuck. That looks cleaner. I wasn't sure if it was the camera or whatever. All right. Well, that's a sleeve that's gonna go bye-bye. Okay. Riku of Many Paths, red and a green and a blue. I guess green and a blue and a red. If I'm going to be picky. Human Wizard 3/3. Whenever you cast a modal spell, choose up to X, where X is the number of times you chose a mode for that spell. So you can do 1, 2, and 3. Exile a top card of your library. You can cast it until the end of your next turn. You may play it. So play it also, which is potentially a land. Put a 1/1 counter on Riku and gains trample until end of turn, or create a 1/1 blue bird creature with flying. Um, all three of those are pretty cool. Either a token, a buff, or a little card advantage there. There's plenty of modal spells out there. Um, Sub sexy and shy. Hopefully the NFL draft is treating everybody right and kind right now. I know the Vikings got JJ McCarthy. I kind of thought that's what was going to happen. I'm happy with it since we don't have Kirko Chains. And yeah. So Rico of Many Paths gonna be pretty cool. But Commander Smiths is a weekly podcast that records live here on YouTube every Monday night at 9 o'clock on the dot. And and then we also do, I guess we're kind of, we do deck building, we do randomly gameplay a couple times a year. No, I'm not wearing this sexy robe, but the new playmats have them. If I can rar. So we have a store, commandersmiths.com and Shopify if you want to go check that out as well. But other than that, you can check out. We got a lot of stuff going on. Sometimes giveaway. We have proxies that we give it out to patrons. And Discord is also for the patrons and stuff like that. Um, so yeah, that's where we're at here. Riku is going to be pretty cool. If you're new to the game here, basically what I do is I think I have about 110 cards here tonight. I'll read through them for the first 45 minutes and then pare it down as we're going. And that's how the deck is going to end up. I stop probably, in the lower 70s, upper 60s, unless I kind of get stuck. This generally will go about an hour and a half, 2 hours. If you're not watching live, definitely watch at 1.5, 2 times speed. I'm not a fast talker, and there's plenty of thinking going on. If there's any card suggestions that you have, put them in the comments for sure. Ren Shy, that doesn't count for you though. All right. All right, a little bit of water, and then I think we can kind of get to it. Again, Riku stacks. See, that's my worry. Is it just gonna be like is it tap stuff? Stasis. Red has plenty of tap down effects. Um, Uphill battle. You got shoot. There's one red enchantment that whenever you cast a creature, you get to tap something down. You got stasis, winter orb, all that kind of stuff. Just a tap down stack deck. Is that what you think I'm gonna do, or because it's not? That's not what I'm doing. But Riku, that's where we're at right here. I have them in certain sections. So the first bit here, first couple cards are cards that do both draw or card advantage along with ramping. Sword of Forge and Frontier. Um, pro red, pro green, +2/+2, and then whenever it deals damage to a player, exile the top card, similar to what Riku's doing, and then you can play it and play another land that turn. Oh, throat just Winter Orb, Defense Grid, Jockle Hops. Yeah, why not? Why not be a terrible person? I don't know. But Sword of Fortune Frontier right there. Sorcerer class. When it ETBs, you draw 2 and discard 2, and then you can pay a red and a blue to have your creatures tap for a red and a blue, red or a blue for instant and sorcery spells. Last part doesn't really matter. It's here for the draw, looking at cards, and adding mana. Spell Satchel, 2 mana artifact, Magecraft. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, put a book counter on it, and then you can tap it to remove a book counter to add a colorless, or pay 3, tap it, remove 3 book counters to draw a card. Um, just something on theme there a bit. Jessica's Will, exile the top 3 cards, and you get red mana if you have your commander. It is a modal spell. One thing that I should point out, number 2 from the Discord, thoughts is oracles. Can't that doesn't work. We don't have demonic consultation um availability. But there is a difference. There are different types of modal spells. So like a flip card is kind of a modal spell, but it's not. So what it is a modal card, and this right here is a modal spell. There's a slight difference there. So if you're looking at that kind of stuff, that's what's going on. All right. So Jessica's Will, modal spell. Cryptolith right, tap a creature, add a mana of any color. I think I'm gonna like that for this kind of deck. Not doing food chain. You're right though. This would be the deck for it. Maybe, probably not. I don't think I'm terribly worried about food chain there. All right. Let's see here. Thunderclap Drake. Birthing pod lines. It just sacrifice tokens into one drops. That sounds super powerful. Probably not though, right? I could go get Kikijiki. There's plenty of Pestermites and shit like that in this. Thunderclap Drake, 1 in a blue, 2/1 flyer. Instants and sorceries cost 1 less, and then you can pay 3, sack it, and copy the next spell you cast for each time you've cast your commander. That seems like it's going to be pretty cool, and I am going for the cost reduction on instants and sorceries in this deck. Burgeoning is putting a land from your hand into play whenever an opponent does that. Sword of Feast and Famine. I should have gotten a better proxy for that one. That's my old first one. Ugh. They're a lot better looking now. But untapping your land so that you can cast instants on your opponent's spell or your turn is good. Dual caster mage twin flame. That's I didn't even do that in Calamax. Why would I do that? Soul ring. V. All right. We are now into land ramp. If you didn't notice, or ramp in general, soul ring, birds of paradise, springleaf drum, Kaza, Royal Chaser, Flying Haste 1/2, tap it whenever the next instant or sorcery spell you cast this turn costs X less, where X is the number of wizards you control as this ability resolves. Riku's a wizard, Kaza's a wizard, and if you just have one more wizard, most of your spells are going to just be pips at that point. That No, you're fine. I'm not interested in playing all any of those, Renshine. I'm sorry. Burl, Chief of Compliance. There are going to be some counter spells in here because there's plenty of modal counter spells. So let's reduce the cost and potentially loot a little bit there. Dockside Extortionist, Obvi, Quandrix Apprentice. Whenever you cast, I'm just going to skip on the Magecraft. So it's Magecraft, reveal. Um, Look at the top 3 cards of your deck. You may reveal a land and put it in your hand, rest on the bottom. It's going to show up a lot of lands. Haughty Jin, reducing instants and sorceries by 1, and it gets power to the instants and sorceries in your graveyard or with flying. Stormkill an Artist, and that is a Magecraft. Create a treasure token, and then +1/+0 for each artifact you control. Titania's Command. Oh, my throat is real dry tonight. Sorry. Give me a second. I'm going to quiet that. All right. Titania's command, modal spell, exile target or the graveyard, or search your library for up to 2 lands, put them into play, and you can choose two, so you're getting two choices on Riku. Create two bears, and then put 2/1/1 counters on each creature you control. Um, Plenty of stuff there to choose from. Verdant Confluence is put lands into play or 1/1 counters on stuff, or searching your or and then returning permanents from your graveyard. This one's a choose three. This one's a choose two. Commands, confluences are really powerful in this kind of deck. They're very similar, as in what I would probably be doing, either 1/1 counters or lands into play um, on both of them. And then there's the potential upside if you need to gain life or something. Return from the Wilds, 3 mana sorcery. This is a search your library for a basic land put into play tapped. It's a bummer that it's three, but it is what it is. Or create a 1/1. Oh, you get to choose two, though. So this one is generally not doing the food token, but it's creating a 1/1 and searching for a land. Glimpse to the Core, 2 mana sorcery, and this is a search your library for a basic forest card, put into play tapped. Because we're not going to be doing caves at all. That's not a thing. Nature's Lore, forced into play, untapped. 3 visits, forced into play, untapped. Thirsting Roots. This is go get a basic land, put it in your hand, or proliferating, which +1/+1 counters like proliferating, but we'll see where it is. But it is a modal spell. Bush Bushwhack. Same thing. Go get a land, put in your hand, basic land, and target creature you control fights. So that's a little bit of removal. It's nice in both ways. So those are the lands right there. Let's see. I did not, or the ramp, or whatever we're going to call it. I did not get rid of any cards at that point, unfortunately. Um, and if I want to be around that that 15 to 20 mark, it's kind of where I want to be. 3 2s, 1s, 5. Let's see here. 5. What you got? Take out blue, add black, make it Jund. You're welcome. Am I doing what am I gonna do with Jund? Jund's so bad. Kresh? Am I doing Kresh? Is that what I'm doing? Bloodbraid? So the 2s and 3s I want to try and keep as much as possible. Um, I want to be able to untap land. I have a feeling I'm definitely going to be doing Sword of Feast and Famine. Um, Not sure about the more cards thing, but being able to have both a little bit of card advantage and a little bit of ramp. I like it. Stormkill Artist. I also like Jessica's Will, Haughty Jin, Return of the Wilds. That was gonna be tough. I did start off with like 300 cards, so I got all the way down here, and that's kind of how that is. Sorcerer class makes a ton of sense. I like Spell Satchel, but it might just be too much work. So let's cut that. Cryptolith Right is kind of like a sorcerer class in that degree. Thunderclapping, Kaza, Baral, Dockside, Quandrix. Oh boy, I kind of want exploration in here too. Soul Ring, Birds, Springleaf, and then these two. Um, Maybe getting rid of Springleaf Drum. I got the two that are like it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12, 20, 21, 22, 23. All right. So we're still going to have to cut 5. Um, but we cut 2 there, and that's definitely an easy choice, I guess. All right. Going on to the draw. Let's see here. Diviner's Wand equips for free whenever a wizard comes into play. Riku's a wizard, so free equip. Whenever you draw a card, it gets +1/+1 and flying, and you can pay 4 to draw a card. 3, and then you never have to do the equip thing. So makes him a little bit aggressive. This isn't like a heavy draw deck, but should be decent. Um, Artistic Refusal. This is a choose one or both, which is counter target spell, draw two, discard a card. It has Convoke. So modal spell. We'll see where that goes. I should probably. That is. Get rid of that. All right, Supreme Will. Look at the top four cards, put it into your hand, and then it also has the option to counter a spell unless they pay three. So not a bad deal either way. Flame of Anor. If you control a wizard, which Riku is, so there's a little bit of wizard stuff going on, but you can choose two, which is modal spell. Target player draws two cards, destroy an artifact or 5 damage to a creature. I'm likely going to have that in here. Mystic Confluence is one of my favorite cards ever printed. Choose three, which is counter a spell unless they pay three, or return a creature to its hand, or draw a card. I love this one. So this one staying, obvi. Into the Fire. Choose one. Modal spell. Oh, and the other thing that you want to be looking for as a modal spell is like the choose one or two or three type cards. But it's either 2 damage to each creature, planeswalker, and battle, or any number of cards from your hand on the bottom of your deck, and then you get to draw that many cards. So it's an option of draw or removal. Nice little bit. Thassa's Intervention is either a soft counterspell or a search X amount of cards on the top and put two in your hand. So for 4 mana, you just put two cards in your hand. Esteban, um, that's just run shy. That's not come on, that's not me. That's not me. Thassa's Intervention is gonna be pretty cool. Primal Command. Hopefully I use this because I bought a foil one of the new outlaw decks for like 50 cents, but it might not make it now that I'm looking at it. But choose two. Either gain 7 or put a non-creature permanent on top of its owner's library, or shuffle graveyard into their deck, or search your library for a creature card, reveal it, and put it in your hand. So more than likely, I mean, 5 mana is definitely go get a creature and then a little bit of removal. Probably put the non-creature permanent on top. Those are the two. Is that good enough for 5? Maybe. Maybe. Um, but since I'm questioning it, this is early in the game. We should cut it. Sapphire Charm. It would be if you look. No, I don't even know how to play CEDH. I would just look like a fool. That's why I'd rather play just Pub Stomper style decks, I guess. I don't know. So, Sapphire Charm. Choose one. Target player draws a card at the beginning of the next upkeep, or target creature an opponent controlled phases out, or target creature gains flying until end of turn. All of these seem relevant. There are a bunch of old charms. And we'll see some. We won't see others in this, but this one seems decent. Catharic Pyre. Choose one. 3 damage to target creature, or discard up to 2 cards, then draw that many cards. So a little bit of card selection, a little bit of removal. Rhystic Study is there because it's a lot of draw discard, and we just need a solid, reliable draw source. Um, and then if the deck doesn't need it, it doesn't need it. That's how I kind of use these kind of cards, is just making sure that I have something there. Robe of the Arch Magi, 3 mana, and then it equips 2 wizards for 1, and then whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you draw that many cards. And that's if this is in play, you're giving Riku the 1/1 counters and trample, and you're going to get it through and drawing more cards. Sensei's top for sure. Skull Clamp on those little birdies. Dragon Rage Channeler to put stuff in your graveyard and then just cycle through stuff that you may or may not want. Augur Bolus, look at the top 3 cards, put an instant or sorcery in your hand from them and the others on the bottom, but it's cool art. Jace Vryn's Prodigy, draw, discard a card. If you have so many cards in your yard, you flip it, and then the -3 is to recast instants and sorceries from your graveyard. Um, and then also this is, yeah, that's kind of what it's there for. Academy Wall. Whenever you one time per turn, if you cast an instant or sorcery, draw a card, discard a card, not a bad deal. You're not going to have a lot of creatures, I don't think, in this deck because you're going to rely so much on modal spells. So having strong blockers is going to be important if there's room for them. Lunar Mystic, if you cast an instant spell, pay one, you get to draw a card. Danny Pink, whenever you put a 1/1 counter on a creature once per turn, you get to draw a card. This is really only for Riku in this kind of deck. So we'll see. But I mean, it's gonna be like drawing a card. Archmage Emeritus, Magecraft, draw a card. Simon, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery card with mana 3 or greater, roll a d20. And then if it's 1 through 9, each player draws a card, or 10 to 19, you draw a card. And if it's 20, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. Cast through time is giving those instants and sorceries rebound. It's probably too expensive. We'll cut that right now. But being able to cast stuff for free the next turn seems pretty good. You just don't know if it's going to be around though either. Muse, Vortex, X and 2 blue sorcery. Exile the top cards of X cards of your deck. You may cast an instant or sorcery spell with mana value X or less from among them without paying its mana cost. Then put the exiled instant or sorcery card that weren't cast into your hand and the rest on the bottom. So this feels like a really good way to get one off and then a bunch refill the hand. Ogier Pakitik, the deepest epoch. Given those spells rebound, I do want this one in here. Kaho Minimo Historian. When it ETBs, go find 3 instants, and then you can pay X, tap it to cast one of those instants. So it's just kind of a little bit of a tutor, probably something that you go and find some nice, like 1 and 2 drop instants and sorceries. No, not sorceries, just instants. Because if it gets removed, they just go away. Ugh, we'll cut it. Talk me out of it. Trash the town. Spree is something that's going to be really cool, and you'll see a lot of spree cards in your Riku decks. I don't have a lot of them yet. The green rare one, not yet. On the way, but that'll happen. Trash the town, green, and then spree. So for 2 more, add 2/1/1 counters on target creature. For 1 more, target creature gains trample until end of turn. Likely won't need to do that. And then +1 until end of turn, target creature gains whenever it deals combat damage to a player. Draw 2 cards. The key to the vault. Basically, whenever the creature deals combat damage, look at the top amount of cards from your deck for how much damage you dealt, and then you get to cast one of those spells for free. And then Sylvan Library, again, I'm much more willing to put that in than Rhystic Study, but they're both really, really good cards. So again, same range for ramp, but 15 to 20, 2, 3, 6, 13, 14, 26. I'm gonna have to cut like 8. Ugh, that seems like a lot. Key to the Vault seems pretty cool, but maybe too dependent. Maybe a not this deck type of thing. I like Trash the Town. Ogier seems fun. Simon always, I don't know. I don't know. I'm probably like half and half with my spells, so he won't even trigger. Can't block, worth a dang. Let's cut Simon. Archmage is fantastic. Basically like Danny Pink, though. Yeah. All right. Similar cards. I'm okay with that. Thought. Lunar Mystic. This always gets me. Only being instances rough. We'll cut that. Academy Wall. We'll keep that for now. I like Jace because it's at 2. Augur Bolus. Am I even going to hit? I don't have any blink in here. I don't think either. Or like, Get rid of Augur. I like Dragon's Rage at this point. Skull Clamp and Sensei's for sure. A Robe, Arch, Magi. The Robe is going to be, that is absolutely in. Let's cut Ristic for now and might go back in later after that. Key to the Vault. Deals combat damage to a player. Look at that many cards from the top. You may exile a non-land card from among them and put the rest on the bottom. In a random order, you may cast the exile card without paying its mana cost. It's not a bad deal. 2 and a 3. Let's cut that for now. It's just basically it's really good on Riku because you should be able to see a bunch of cards, but we'll see. We will see. All right, give me a second. All right. Removal, I like real cheap. Bit of removal there. Removal, yep. Supreme. I think Diviner's Wand can probably get cut. Unfortunately, it's just a little expensive. Like if drawing could be 3 mana, but I get why it's not. So Artistic Refusal, 6 mana. Even though with the Convoke, I'm probably going to be fairly light with creatures. I think we cut that too. We just get rid of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's not a bad thing. Did I get down there? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 19? Hey, getting there. All right. Let's see here. Getting into the removal package, which is heavy. Yeah, that's a fat removal package, if you know what I mean. But we're gonna go with Hullbreaker Horror. Just if you're playing an instant speed kind of deck in Hullbreaker Horror, and you're in blue, it's a really, really good card to have, right? Secondarily, on theme, even though a lot of my creatures don't at this point, but when I was pulling cards, I wanted them to have choices as well. But it kind of went away from that. But Hullbreaker Horror is in there. Clan Defiance, choose one or more, but X damage to a player, a creature on the ground, and a creature in the air. So not a bad deal. Fiery Confluence. You get to choose 3, which is 1 damage to each creature, or 2 damage to each opponent, or destroy target artifact. This one's going to be great removal in here. Collective Defiance. It has Escalate, which choose 1 or more just for whatever you're paying. Kind of like Spree a little bit, but target player discards all the cards and draws that many cards, or deals 1 damage to target. Oh, 4 damage to target creature, or 3 damage to target opponent. Not nearly as much as Fiery Confluence, but it is what it is. Smash to Dust. Choose one of the 3 options, which is destroy an artifact or a creature with defender, or 1 damage to each creature your opponents control. Fiery Confluence is the morning after Taco Bell. My stomach's very sensitive, so it's, within an hour of finishing Taco Bell. It's not a bad deal. I mean, you just know you're getting it out of the way. I actually don't do their hot sauce though. It's too vinegary. I'm probably in the wrong there. Sorry. Over the Edge. Choose one, destroy an artifact or enchantment, or target creature you control explores, then explores again. Hull Breach, choose one, destroy an artifact or an enchantment, or an artifact and enchantment. So not a bad deal. Deface, destroy an artifact or a creature with defender. And then you have Reckless Airstrike. Wish it wasn't a sorcery. Wish this wasn't a sorcery, but 3 damage to a creature with flying or an artifact. Pick your poison, choose one. Each opponent sacrifices an artifact or an enchantment or a creature with flying. So your choice. Not bad for 1 green. Clouth's Will. Choose both if you have a commander. If not, choose one, but it deals X damage to each creature without flying and destroy up to X target artifacts and or enchantments. So, Riku hopefully is relatively big, but really if you're paying like let's see here. Whenever you cast, so there's a cast trigger, which means even if Riku has no counters on it, you cast it and you choose one of them to be a 1/1. You pay this for 6, destroy 3 artifacts and or enchantments, and then 3 damage to each creature without flying. That's not a bad deal, right? Right? We're just gonna have to see how much artifact and enchantment removal we have. Sublime Epiphany. Choose one or more, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can only choose 3 for Riku, but 5 options is always good. Counter a spell. Counter an activated or triggered ability. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Create a token that's a copy of target creature you control, or target player draws a card. This card's bonkers in Hinata, if you didn't know. All of this would be bonkers in Hinata. Spree. Spree is great in Hinata, I think. Inscriptions of Abundance. The kicker allows you to pick all 3, put 2 1/1 counters on target creature, or target player gains X life, where it's the highest power, or target creature you control fights target creature you don't. So, Danny Pink is probably more relevant than I was thinking. So, we'll keep that around. Cryptic Command, choose 2 of one of the best cards in Magic's history. But counter spell or tap all permanents or return target permanent to its owner's hand, tap all creatures your opponents control, or draw a card. Branching Bolt, choose one or both, but 3 damage to a creature with flying, or 3 damage to and or a creature without flying. So that's 3 mana, instant, deal 3 damage to a creature with flying and without, and pick 2 Riku triggers. Spree is kicker. Right. Everything's kicker. You even posted the video in the Discord, man. I'm pretty sure. But everything's kicker. Quandrix Command. Choose 2 out of these. Return target creature. Correct. Everything's yeah. That is the correct answer. You're right. Return target creature or planeswalker to its hand, or counter target artifact or enchantment spell, or 2/1/1 counters on target creature, or target player shuffles 3 target cards from the graveyard into their deck. Um, I like this in Calamax when I could double it because it basically be bouncing more counters. Um, we'll see how it goes in here, but being able to choose 2 is better than 1, right? Prismari Command, 2 damage to any target, or draw 2 cards and discard 2 cards, or target player creates a treasure or destroy an artifact. In my mind, most of the time, this is a deal 2, destroy an artifact, or the looting, if needed. Display of Dominance, destroy target black or blue non-creature permanent. Permanents you control can't be the target of blue-black spells. It just since it's so color specific, and I've already gotten rid of the Hydroblast, Pyroblast type cards, blue Elemental Blast and red Elemental Blast. So those 4 gonna get rid of this one as well. But they're very powerful in their own regards. Abrade, 3 damage to a creature, or destroy target artifact. Cast into the fire. Cast it into the fire. 1 damage. Deal 1 damage to each of up to 2 target creatures, or exile target artifact. Not a bad card, exiling. Applied Biomancy. This is choose 1 or both. And this is 1/1 counter. Target creature gets 1/1 until end of turn, and return target creature to its owner's hand. Decisive Denial. Do you know what I just realized? And I probably should have realized this earlier, but modal spell decks and reading 4 cards twice as long because there's 2 or 3 sets of text. It's super fun. But Decisive Denial, choose 1. Target creature you control fights, or counter target non-creature spell unless they pay 3. Return to nature, instant, destroy an artifact or an enchantment, or exile a card from a graveyard. Defabricate, 2 mana instant, counter target artifact or enchantment spell. If it is countered, exile it, or counter target activated or triggered ability. Nice flexibility there. Emerald Charm, up to one target or untap target permanent, which is pretty cool. Or destroy target enchantment, global enchantment, or target creature loses flying until end of turn. But those first two, those are legitimate picks right there. Raise the effigy, destroy target artifact or a creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Attacking creature, I guess. And then steal sabotage, counter target artifact spell or return target artifact to its owner's hand. There we go. That's something that is going to need to get cut down quite a bit. I think this is going to be really hard to figure out how to do these. I'm going to have to blow my nose real quick. All right. So this is going to be a lot. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Doesn't matter. All right. Is there anything that I just hate? Let's figure out like artifact and enchantment removal, I guess. So artifacts, enchantment, artifact, enchantment. We can consider that just a little bit of both. Target creature, that one's removal. I'm not going to be worried about that. Artifacts. Um, hmm, I like that I can choose 3 there, which is tough. Artifacts, damage, and kind of anything. All right. So there is only one enchantment. Let's see here. I feel like I can probably get rid of some of these enchantment bits because if I can hit both an enchantment and an artifact, that's just going to be better to a degree. Um, that's I think deface probably goes because creature with defender is it is what it is, and then creature with flying or an artifact also like I like a braid better. Cast into the fire probably better. All right, Night Run Shy. Thanks for hanging out. Hey, I forgot. Hey, remember to hit that like button. Would really appreciate it. Subscribe to the Commander Smiths, whatever you need to do. It's all good. All right. So those two can go. These are legitimate removal pieces. I like steel sabotage. Yeah. Well, I mean, bouncing. If I can't raise the effigy like a bump, that's removal. That's removal. Prismari command. I think cast it into the fire goes. I'm not necessarily worried. And probably steel sabotage as well. So it's either counter uh or a bounce. Artifact to its owner's hand. I don't hate that though. Eh, we can get rid of steel sabotage too. I like the creature removal aspects. I don't know what I'm going to do with that untapped though. Target permanent. Target permanent. I don't have any crazy ramp in here, like a bloom tender or Um, like a Gaia's Cradle wouldn't be in here. So what am I gonna do? Like surprise block with it? Maybe? Um, I like probably all of these. Either counter spell or counter target activated or triggered ability. Like I like that. I like that. Instant speed removal's nice too. Um, 2, 3, 4, 5. What is raise the effigy again? +2/+2 until end of turn. For now, I think we're all right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 11, 12, 13. And then looking at that, I like that. Collective Defiances. 4 damage to a creature, or 3 damage to an opponent, or discard, right? I guess bin stuff. This is more than likely a 4 mana, deal 4 damage to a creature, and 3 damage to a player. And then if you're really in trouble, you can cycle stuff. I just like that it has the chance to do 2 or 3. Cryptic Command. Bouncing, but twice. Two cards is what keeps this here for now. Applied. If it didn't have the one or both, this is clearly a dead card. All right, choose 2. Return a creature or planeswalker, or counter an artifact or enchantment. That's not bad. Countering artifact, bouncing a creature. Well, target creature or target player shuffles up to 3 target cards from the yard to the deck. I don't think that last one is really relevant, but I do like the top 3. Like it's like counter spell and return a creature planeswalker. I don't yeah. Yep. What do we how much we get rid of there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on that one. I'll have to do a legitimate count at the end. Some of the draw on the ramp had removal attached to it as well, so one of the things that's gonna be interesting is, like, mixing and matching. And so, this is the protection part, which also has plenty there. I guess I did that one too. Alright, new spree one, return the favor. Spree, so it's red, and then pay 1, copy target instant spell, sorcery spell, activated ability, or triggered ability. You may choose new targets for the copy. And that's anything. Actually kind of thought it was for just yourself, but it is anything that's it can target. And change the target of target spell or ability with a single target. That's pretty good. Probably staying. Reverse the polarity, 3 mana instant. Choose 1, counter all other spells, or switch each creature's power and toughness, or creatures can't be blocked this turn. So all of that's fairly good. Is it charm? Choose 1. It's 2 damage to a creature, or counter spell unless they pay 2, or draw 2, discard 2. Simic charm. Target creature gets +3/+3 until end of turn, or permanents you control gain hexproof, or return target creature to its owner's hand. Twin Inferno. You may or when you cast your next instant or sorcery spell, copy it, new targets. Or target creature you control gains double strike until end of turn. I was thinking both of those fit very well. Double striking a big Riku that has trample seems pretty good. And then copying a moto spell also good. You see a guard approach. Choose 1, tap a creature, or target creature you control gains hexproof until end of turn. Not a bad deal. Inspiring Call. There's a lot of 1/1 counter stuff going on here now that I've kind of gone through the deck. And so I think Inspiring Call is applicable. So you can draw a card for each card you have with a 1/1 counter on it, and they gain indestructible. Veilstone Amulet, definitely in this deck, but whenever you play a spell, creatures you control can't be the target. It gains hexproof. So, Winged Boots, equip creature has flying and ward 4. 2 to come out, 1 to equip. Super easy, nice. Swiftfoot boots, yep. Lightning greaves, yep. Spell skite, best protection in blue there is. No doubt. Oh 04, change the target to target spell or ability to spell skite. Gets the auras, gets any type of removal. This is all protection. I like the hastiness. Wing boots, sparring call. This one's gonna be tough. It's gonna be really tough. I have no idea, but it's gonna have to go away somewhere. um, the other thing, where are we at? Kind of graveyard, secondary, trying to get little cool stuff in, but arcane bombardment, 6 mana enchantment. Whenever you cast your first instant or sorcery spell each turn, exile an instant or sorcery card at random from your graveyard, then copy each card exiled with arcane bombardment. You may cast any number of those copies without paying their mana costs. Let's double check on that. Whenever you cast a modal spell. So, I think that works. The only thing is that this only counts the first time you cast an instant or sorcery each turn, and Riku can trigger as many times in a turn as you cast spells. The only thing that I'm questioning here, and I guess I'm gonna have to ask the question is you are casting a copy. Is the copy still considered a spell? I would assume so. So, every time you put something underneath it, you cast it, you go trigger, 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 pop, pop, pop for each one of them. That can be a huge deal in my mind. You have Lear, Disciple of the Drowned, which is spells can't be countered, which is a big downfall. But each instant and sorcery card in your graveyard has flashback, and it's equal to the card's mana cost. Um, so like there's a lot of cards in here that are countering spells. Spells can't be countered. I really want some of that stuff. I want to be able to rough, 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 rough. We're gonna get rid of it. Oh, Snapcaster Mage, just being able to cast a card from the graveyard. Gale is really, really nice. Whenever you cast a sorcery, you can cast an instant from the graveyard, and then whenever you cast an instant from your hand, you can cast a sorcery from the graveyard. So back and forth. This is an even one. Ethereal Forager, 6 mana, 3/3. Whenever it attacks, you may return an instant or sorcery card exiled with it to its owner's hand. So just a little bit of retrieval there, but I think we're not going to have a lot there. So we'll get rid of the Forager. Harmonic Prodigy, that's going to double trigger on the Riku. Viren, Voice of Duality, also double trigger with Riku and many other cards in the deck, wizards, whatnot. Roaming Throne, double trigger for Riku and all the wizards. Spark Double, Sakashima, and Aaron Kuhl's Vile Duplication is just copying Riku and getting more and more of those triggers, however you wish. Great Train Heist. There's the red spree. I really, really like this one. But a red instant, you can pay a red and 2 colorless, untap all creatures you control. If it's your combat phase, there's an additional combat phase after this phase. And then you can pay 2 more, +1/+0, and gain first strike until end of turn. And then or 1 more red. Choose target opponent. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to that player this turn, create a tapped treasure token. Savage Beating. Entwine is a choosing. That is a modal spell. Choose one. And so it's 5 +2 for the Entwine. Only during your turn and only during combat. And then creatures you control gain double strike, and you get another attack phase after this combat phase. The last card out of all this, Passionate Archaeologist. 2 mana, legendary enchantment, background, doesn't matter. Commander creatures you own have, whenever you cast a spell from exile, this creature deals damage equal to that spell's mana value to target opponent. So you can exile those things, you know, use the exile for Riku and then cast it. Works with Frontier, Sword of the Frontier. I like all of these cards as well. Problem. I like the double triggering. I'd have to see double trigger. All right. Not a bad deal. Let's look at how much we've actually cut. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we're down to like 91 cards at this point, which means we got to cut like 20. And we're already down roughly 20. Already halfway there, right? I'll go in CMC order, and then we can see how the curve looks as it's going. Over 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 4, 4. What do I expect? Okay, so these spree cards are going to be interesting to see where they are on the curve. But 1, 2, 3, that's 3, 4, 5. That's what I would want it at. Savage Beating would be 7. That's what I would like it at. Passionate Archaeologist. That'd be a 2, 3, 4. 4 is not bad for that at all. 3 twosies, woozies. See a guard approach. 2s. And so this allows me to see just like, oh, do we have too many cards in that high over 6 spot? It's 5. Where do cards actually get cast? That's 3, 4, 5. No, 3, 4. Likely just a 4. X spells can be, wishy-washy or whatever they need to be in your head. They're very flexible. X spells are. Sex spells? Yeah, baby. My fingers are not gripping tonight. No grippies. 3 and 3. Normally, I'm in the 2, 3, 4 range. That's where a bulk of my decks end up. It's where I feel comfortable in playing and feels like decks kind of go a lot smoother for me anyway. So that is my preference. And you should figure out what your preference is and what you like about it. Rebound isn't really going to work with Spree, is it? How does that even work? 1, 2, 3, 4. It's roughly 4. Eh. Should probably get an exploration over here. I think I'm out of proxies on that one. Now we're filling up the twosies woozies. 4. Pretty inconsistent with the swords or just equipment in general. I count the swords as a 5 instead of a 3, because generally I want to be able to like have creatures to put them on and be able to attack and try and get some good value right away. To whereas like Swiftfoot boots or Greaves or the winged boots, those just kind of come out and then they attach whenever they can. Second.